Yo, what's up guys? We just got the new patch. So I'm in a new hotel already. Internet here is really bad though, so uploading this might be a little bit on a delay. But let's just see how it works. New units are released. Few new things of the new patch are in general sense in there as well. We also do have the best pack of the whole year, which I've been mentioning a bunch of times. I did expect it to come back, but this is pretty much as good as it gets. Like, you get the value of 5 LD scrolls from these. You get this scroll, which is crazy good. You get 15 of these. So definitely a super high value pack, and I would really recommend to get this because this is pretty much just a choice net 5, depending on how many units you miss. But even if you miss a lot of units, it's still relatively close to a choice net 5. But let's actually look at the main thing of this video, which is going to be the new unit. So first of all, what are the base speeds? Do we have any awakenings? We are arena, so that can mean if nothing is arena lead right now, it could be arena lead in the future for speed. So nothing is speed lead as of yet. I can predict already by a guaranteed certainty of, like, let's say 80%, one of those units is gonna get the speed lead. And that straight away makes them a 33% speed lead. I'm 100% sure about that. They will do that in some kind of balance patch. Also, we do in general know that units on release are really bad. The moment that they have been playing them for a while, that's where they get good. So let's just see what we have. So first of all, we have the Sword of Justice, which is the skill that is the same for all of them. And it's, if you don't push, wait, how was it? If the attack bar was not decreased, you increase the highest attack bar. So is this also on resistance? That is also on resistance. You can force that by hitting on a wheel target, but or you can also force that by hitting that on a glanced target. But okay, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, so that's kind of the justice kind of thing, I guess. Then we also have the attack 2 on this one. Attacks all enemies, decrease their defense for 2 turns with the additional 50% chance. In addition to the attack for the enemy, lowering with a low. So we do AoE hit and then we hit one more target for the stun. It's okay. How much of the cooldown are we? 3-turn cooldown. I'll check the numbers of the cooldown in a second as well. This skill 3, a wall of text. Remove all, oh yeah, this is where you can choose, do it on yourself or do it on the enemy. If you do it on the enemy, you deal damage by how much you removed. If you do it on yourself or an ally, you heal for that amount. Definitely an interesting one right there. This skill we haven't really seen all too much just yet, but can be a something. So let's actually check. How long are we looking at for the cooldown? So this will be a 4-turn cooldown. This will be a 3-turn cooldown. The stun will go to 100% chance. This will stay at a 70% chance. Not too bad of numbers. Also, this we will up the rate by a 20 over there. So we'll go to a 70% rate over there. Okay, is it something? Is it something? I'm not too sure if this will be too good though. This is also support type, so it's not going to deal as much damage. Water one is the one that we actually did see for the preview itself. So skill 1 is same. Skill 2 is going to be remove harmful effect, increase the bar in addition for the healing. Wait, so increase their bar in addition, recover the HP for harmful effect removed. Okay, so you only heal if you actually removed something, otherwise you're not healing. So that's the main thing on that. Skill 3 is remove all harmful effects on the target, increase the bar by the amount of harmful effects removed, and then also reduce skill cooldown. I would have to test this if you can decrease cooldown multiple times with this. So let's say you're removing 6 debuffs, are you gonna get 6 cooldowns on those debuffs kind of style? That's, I think it works like that, but that would be pretty strong, I guess. Only thing is a 4-turn cooldown. I was gonna say it's like 6-turn cooldown looks way too long on that, but if it goes cooldown -2, that is not too bad. This one cooldown -3. I can already predict that this probably will go on a balance patch -1, and I wouldn't be surprised if this goes -1 as well. So I don't think it's crazy strong, but if you lower the cooldowns on those, it definitely feels strong. We also have a wind one, which is going to be not a Diana, but a Dryana. At some points they run out of names. They run out of creativity and they run out of names. Leader skill is attack. And let's just go in and look at the skills from here, because I prefer to look at it from here. So we once again have the death break. Does make sense on a damage kind of style of unit. Skill 3 is compare the HP of all monsters of the field. Activate this skill on 4 targets with the worst HP condition. For enemy targets, their attack bar is, or you reset their attack bar and grant oblivion for 1 turn. For allied targets, increase their attack bar by 50 and recover their healing proportion to your attack power. That's kind of all over the place. That's kind of cool though. So it Oblivions if the enemy is lower, which is not that bad, and then it lowers bar if the enemy is lower. I could see that kind of working in the AoE style that we're doing right now. If you place that next to like a double AoE strip, you have like a Venton going, and then you Oblivion this to start to mess up Nobara, you start to mess up all of these kind of things. The only thing is, it is a wind element, so you can't really mess up Junos. Would be nice if this was a guaranteed no glancing hit or something like that. But yeah, that's powerful. I kind of like the idea of that. We don't know the multipliers just yet. I will actually double check right after this if the multipliers are already up, because mostly Sarusa is pretty fast with that, but I don't think he's that fast with it just yet. So I would say wind one seems the one that's more dominant at the moment. Then we have the water one. Water one also has the same healing as the... Or the light one also has the same healing as the water one. Skill 3 is also Wall of Text. Attack 3 enemies to disturb the HP recovery for 2 turns if the total amount of damage received is greater than the total amount of damage received. Each hit decreases their defense. What the... Okay. So does that mean if the damage received is greater than or equal than that to the allies? Okay, so this is where if you didn't do anything to the game just yet, you're starting to shoot 16,000 debuffs. Okay. That's otherwise I'll leave branding and silence. Okay, that's an interesting one. Not really entirely sure where I would like to say using that, but if you look at the amount of debuffs, if you put this next to like a Fire Hacker or something, Fire Hacker plus this, you have all debuffs in game. Like shit starts dying. I can see this having potential. That's pretty strong. I also do like this scale kind of thing. And probably if it leans to the other one, it starts shooting the other debuffs where you start going for the brand and silence, which... That is pretty dope. That's pretty good. Is a support type, so it's mainly a debuffer kind of type of unit. Not sure if it's super strong, but I can definitely see the value of that. It is a little bit weird to have this with this as the S2, so it's more of a setup unit, but you can also still heal on the S2. I would also say if the Purifying Meditation gets immunity, which I wouldn't be surprised if it does do in the future, this one would instantly become a lot stronger, that one would instantly become a lot stronger, and those are the two that do have that. So I could see a world where this gets immunity and then it gets really good. Or if this gets like a speed lead of 33, might be a something. Then the final one, we have this one that has really weird stats. Super high defense. We're actually 103 basing on all of them. Let's actually see for all of the Awakening. So Echo Awakening, maybe Crit Awakening, no Echo Awakening. I guess Resistance Awakening, yep, makes sense. And this also Resistance Awakening. Sure. Well, let's look at the Dark one, which I've already seen. This thing is looking pretty fire as well. So we have this one of this, the S2 of the other two, and then this one. Attack the enemy with an attack that always lands crit. That's nice. For enemies with attack power lower than you, you increase your damage by 50%. For enemies with lower defense than you, the damage is dealt according to your defense. For enemies with lower speed than you, the damage is increased by your speed. So you're dealing 50% extra damage if you have higher attack. You're dealing damage by defense if you have higher defense. So this is the... I would say, well, you could argue that Copper is half HP scale, or half defense scaling, half attack scaling, because he's 300 on 300. I would have to see the numbers on this, but that is insane for a unit to be attack scaling, defense scaling, speed scaling, and actually double attack scaling because of like the 50% extra. So you need a shit ton of stats on this, but the moment you get a unit in with an attack buff, defense buff, and then you also add in an Asher for speed buff. So we're talking about units, there's probably something better, but like I can come to it like a Shannon, for example. Shannon has attack buff, defense buff. There's a few more units. I think the Familian Dancer, which is also the... Is that a Nobara? No, that's the other thing. There's a few units that actually do that. So, okay, it's a single hit in that, which will singly crit. But I think that this can be a really massive nuke, because there's definitely units that... I don't think there is a unit that gives all three of them. Okay, this... Yeah, but by RNG, so that one doesn't really count. But there's definitely a bunch of units that do give this. Megan, yep, Megan. Yeah, this one is the one that... Nezuko. Yep, this is the one that I was thinking, because she has a full boost of bar, attack buff, and defense buff. So... Only thing is speed you don't really have in there at that moment, so the bar thing doesn't really help as much. But yeah, I could definitely see a world where you go Asher Magan and then Strip that also has to defense break. Yeah, okay, that gets a little bit difficult. But yeah, there's definitely options in there where I could see that this thing could be a really hefty nuke. Is that anything of an RTA unit? Not really. More siege offense, arena offense, anything along those lines. This one I could definitely see being used in RTA. This one I could definitely see being used in RTA. Only issue I could see with this one is you can't really land on fire that well. And mainly Junos will have an issue with that, or you will have an issue with Junos. Outside of that, I think that this is pretty strong because it is both a setup and it is a finisher kind of thing as well. So you get kind of the Chumpong feeling that if you were to S2 into S3, super strong. Yeah, I think that these units, definitely not bad. I don't think they're crazy good on release. I also don't really expect them to be crazy good on release. But if we're guessing buffs already, I could see a world where this gets immunity or lower in cooldown or both. This could get lowered in cooldown and it suddenly becomes really strong. This could get a guaranteed hit or like a guaranteed crit. No, guaranteed crit would be too OP. Guaranteed non-glance, I would call it that way. So it can actually land on fire. That would be pretty strong. This one would also take the immunity from this one, maybe a lowered cooldown, and then it would also be really strong. So definitely a lot of options out there to make these units really, really strong. So I definitely do think that these are some solid units. It might take a little bit of time for them actually to pick up pace, because in the end we do know Countess, they never really release super top tier units. I would still have to see them in game, I would still have to see multipliers, because we had it before, that on paper they all sounded really good and shit. And then the moment you start playing them, it's game like, yeah, cool and all, but you deal absolutely 0 damage, which is definitely one of those things as well. But this is already enough like AoE multi-hits that I could say it's like, yo, we're kind of talking, we're kind of doing something that I could already see something going on, especially with the first one. There's just so many debuffs flying, but also with the second one, there's still the disturbed recovery, which is really strong, but it's also a 3 times hit. The odds of landing a silence or landing like legit anything on a 3-time hit is insane. This is the same this is the same amount of getting defense breaks in as an Asima, for example. That's really good odds to always land your defense break. I'm not entirely sure what her defense break odds is, because you have like the resistance check, blah blah blah, that kind of shit. But with a 3 times 85 check, you're looking at very high numbers. So yeah, definitely do like myself these units. Will be summoning for them later. I do have a good bit of mystical scrolls for them as well. As mentioned, the internet over here is not crazy good, so I can't really do a stream over here. Might be still switching hotels a little bit back and forth, going to a different place. At that place, I will try if my Wi-Fi is going to be better, and maybe I can stream for that one, or Wi-Fi gets better at midnight, which is also pretty common here in China, because it's all like shared lines and those kind of things. But if I can, I will do these mystical scrolls on that. I will probably also get a few packs in just to have like a bit of fun. So this one's still crazy good pack. These there is this one over here for buying for 3k. I would say if you're sitting at an excess amount of crystals because you're doing a lot of scout battles, buy it. I think it's a decent buy. It is expensive. Yes, 3k is pretty darn expensive for sure. But then again, if you're just doing more chill farming these days by scout battle and your crystals aren't really going down too much, that might be a thing. If you're sitting low on crystals, definitely don't do it. Then again, what else are also good packs if people do want to buy something? This one was also pretty decent in value. Yeah, this is like a 3-on-3 plus another 2 in here, plus this, plus also 3.6k crystals on this, plus another one over here, plus 2 Devilmons, plus 30, and these. This one is also pretty high value altogether. I would say for the one that I just had, this one also, it gives you this 3 extra if you buy that one with the crystals. This one itself, the individuals, they're okay. They're not as crazy. I would say that these in general are better. And then you also have this one, the right one. I would say that this one is really good as well if you want to spend some more. But then again, we're talking heavy spending already. Do not spend too much. If you cannot miss the money, do not spend on this game. Simple as possible. Maybe just get this one and don't buy anything the whole next year until December, and then you buy this kind of thing again. That's my biggest recommendation I can give. And I think that's about it for this whole video. I will be making a video on showcasing these units later. That's all for now, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. See you as always in the next one.